Hello and welcome to the Experiencing Love podcast. I'm your host, Philip Jocks, and I'm so glad that you're here today. I'm so glad to be here today. As I've been taking care of myself every day, making sure to be at the highest energy levels possible overall, I feel myself truly growing, truly becoming something more than I was. I spent a lot of time doing that for my mind, and now I'm doing it for my body. And with both my mind and my body feeling stronger than they've ever been before, I truly feel unstoppable. When I started looking at the patterns that I've been going through on a day-to-day and week-to-week basis, I've noticed a pattern in particular of me being busy, but on the wrong things. I was able to ask myself the question, is this something that's really moving me forward? Or is it just something that looks cool or fun or interesting in this moment? I often have this situation come up where I get what I feel like is a really great idea, and I get so excited to create whatever I just thought of. Oftentimes it has to do with something of the creative nature, something either artistic or something design oriented. Maybe it's for my business, maybe it's for this podcast. Maybe it is as simple as a drawing or even redecorating my room. And what I've noticed is those types of things get me excited, and I love doing them. And I also realize that they're not always the most important thing, and they're not the most urgent thing that I could be doing in the moment. And then in the grand scheme of things, they're not really moving me forward. It's more like a temporary distraction. And so I've been getting distracted quite a bit recently. And I used to be really tough on myself whenever I did get distracted. But I've been showing myself grace, and every single time I get distracted now, I actually smile and laugh. I smile and laugh because in a way I know I'm meant to get distracted, and at the same time I don't take it that seriously. I don't see it as the end of the world. It's almost a celebration in my mind that I'm glad I caught it and I'm ready to do something different, something that'll actually move me forward. There's a part of me that feels like there's not much to say in terms of new things to say. While every day I am learning and I'm growing and having these revelations for myself, whether they're tiny or gigantic, there comes a point where I feel like I've said many of the things that I say normally. And I'm at that point now where I'm just sitting back and I'm saying, what is there to talk about? What am I meant to share with the world? That was strange. My laptop just randomly locked on itself and the screen went dark, but it kept recording. In life, we call that a pattern interrupt. Something that's out of the ordinary that breaks you out of your patterns. And I think I was just about to dip into a pattern right then, right there, and my screen randomly turning off was to stop that pattern and give me a chance to say something new. I guess there is something that I learned yesterday about myself. While in a mastermind group and having a meeting yesterday, we went through an exercise of reconnecting with our inner children. I reconnected with my inner child. I was once really close with my inner child. This was back in November, about 4 months ago. And I was really close with my inner child and actually communicating with it nearly every day. It was either through journaling or through meditation, but I really practiced getting in touch with this inner consciousness of mine to find out what my soul and spirit really needed. And it got to a point where I did that to such an extent that I felt my inner child was truly seen. Or put a little bit differently, my inner child let me know that it felt truly seen, whereas throughout my entire life it wasn't. When I see my inner child, I see this 5-year-old version of me. And what that sort of tells me is that that's pretty much the point where I may have started to grow up mentally, but emotionally I was still at that level. And as I kept growing up and I learned what people wanted of me, that's where I pretty much stopped figuring out what I wanted. And it's only been in the past few years that I've really started to ask myself that question and to really communicate with the parts of me that control or dictate my desires, my wants, my needs. And so after November and into December, I got really close with my inner child, and my inner child let me know that it felt seen, it felt appreciated, and it felt understood, and it was ready to grow up. And by that I mean he was ready to take his hands off of the steering wheel of my ship. He was ready to stop influencing and controlling my life, or trying to. For a long time, it felt like there was this back and forth of parts of me fighting itself, parts of me telling me to work hard, keep going, go strong, and parts of me telling me to rest, telling me to take it easy. So when I finally connected all these parts of me together, it's like I unlocked this level of trust within myself that I've grown up. I've become a man, and my child no longer needs to control any part of me. Because in order for my inner child to take a step back, we agreed that I would take regular moments of rest. Every day I have a small decompression session, and every week I have one day where I just don't do anything. That's the agreement we made, and I guard that with my life. I make sure that on Sundays, that's my rest day. I don't do work. I spend that day recharging and doing things that fill me up with energy. They fill me up with energy so I can go into the week strong and ready to take action. And then sometime into December, I noticed that I just didn't really communicate with my inner child anymore. I guess back then it wasn't even conscious that I was taking control of my life. It was more so it just happened. And yesterday when I reconnected with the child, I discovered that he's still very much a part of me. That child is very much there. Over the past few days, I had this belief that my inner child died so the man in me can be born. But it's a little bit more complicated than that. I believe now that it was the child's need for control that died, that allowed me to become who I am. And I just remember after that experience, I wrote down on a sticky note here, you can't become a man until you fully connect with your inner child and accept him. Only then are you able to transform through rituals. I've been through some crazy experiences in my life. They're not the craziest in the world, but they're also not ordinary. And through my experiences, I've learned what it means to truly be a man, to truly embrace and exhibit mature masculinity. I also hold this belief that there's not that many mature masculine men out there. And the key word is mature, because there's tons of masculine men out there. But I also see a world filled with immaturity. I acknowledge that I didn't have an example in my life of mature masculinity, because part of mature masculinity is emotional. It's accepting and embracing emotions. Most of the men in my life ran from them. Maybe they ran using alcohol, partying, drugs. Maybe they used exercise, but they never really let themselves feel what they were feeling. When I look at the archetypes and I look at the king, warrior, magician, and lover, what I see is a lot of people very much in touch with maybe their magician and especially their warrior, but less so with their lover. They don't accept their sensations and their feelings inside of them. And because of that, they're only half the man that they could truly be. To be a man in your fullness, you have to embrace all parts of you, even the parts you don't like, especially the parts you don't like. The journey that I've been on wasn't easy. It wasn't comfortable. There have been panic attacks. There have been nights of journaling for hours, ending in tears. There have been moments where I've been terrified and I've had to take action anyways. And it's all been to teach me a lesson of what it means to be a man. Since I've started living like this, my inner child has noticed, and through the meditation yesterday, it was a very brief one, my inner child looked to me and said, I gave you control to become a man, the man you're supposed to be. I don't regret it, and I need you to stop being afraid and take action. Obviously, that's very eloquent for a 5-year-old, but that's at least the message I got. Don't be afraid. I gave you what you wanted. Now I need you to take action, to go. Stop hiding, because there's still so many times that I hide. If I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be vulnerable. I hide with my business. I hide when I see girls that I think are attractive. Now, I may smile, I may make some small talk, but truly I make excuses more often than not. I'll make excuses like, oh, I wait till I see a person twice to know that they're a regular at this place, blah, blah, blah. You know, stupid stuff that at the end of the day I look at and I'm like, Philip, you're just afraid. Like, be so for real right now. There's people who are missing out on you because you're afraid. No, it's not because you're afraid. It's because you're afraid and you don't do anything about it. There's nothing wrong with fear. But fear mixed with inaction leads to a life poorly lived. I hide in my business because I know that I have value to provide to the world. I have insights that only I can have. I have experiences that only I've experienced. And because of that, I have things to share. But the longer I feel like I don't, and that I can sit back and wait and figure it out later, well, it's no surprise that I have the challenges that I have now. Because the challenges I have now are less so about the actions themselves and more so about noticing a fear and doing it anyways. There have been moments in my life where I've overcome fears, but it's not a part of who I am yet. I'm getting there, but I'm not there yet. I'm not at the point where I can subconsciously see that there's something scaring me and I just jump forward and do it anyways before I could even think about it. And I keep being given opportunities to work on it every single day, and I find it funny when I don't, because the only one that hurts the most is me. Yes, I'm hurting other people, but truly, I'm hurting myself. As I like to say, it's my own skill issue at this point. And it's time for me to build that skill every single day. Accept rejection, embrace it, use it to learn, and keep moving forward. That's what my inner child wants of me. I'm nowhere near the peak of my life. There's still so much for me to experience, so much for me to learn. And as long as I do what I've always done, I'll always get what I've always got. So I'm going to end this episode here before I keep ranting, and I'm going to go take action. I'm going to go take action in my business, and when I'm out and about today, I'm going to take action in my life. I'm going to say hi to people that I haven't said hi to before. I'm going to introduce myself to someone that maybe I find attractive. You know what's funny? Me saying maybe is me running. Dang, I gotta be tougher on myself, truly. I need to make this a discipline. I go to the gym every single day, so I can't even say, oh, it's because I didn't go out today. No, I literally go to the gym every single day. I go on runs outside every single day. I have no excuses. Oh, I'm about to get real tough. So while I go do that, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Wish me luck. Wish me growth. And I hope you also do something that scares you today, so that you and I could grow together. Remember to always fill up with the love, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. I love you.